But Jolie, like, there's zero sincerity there. Like, you look at, when you analyze the way she's speaking, the way she's holding herself, she doesn't believe a word of what she's saying.
My heart goes out to the workers on this one. This was very avoidable.
Yeah.
But here we are.
And what I hate about it most is, like, it's right before Christmas too, right?
Yeah.
Like, these people are now going home going, do I return the presents that I bought my kids? Because I don't know if we're going to be able to afford our mortgage.
Yep.
Like, that's the reality, like, of the situation that we're dealing with. And I was listening to a speaker actually talk about this from Cape Breton. And she said that, you know, when Cape Breton lost steel and the coal mines, that basically, like, it decimated Cape Breton, and there was no amount of public and investment from the government that brought that community back to life to where it was.
Yep.
That it was the private investment in that area that really kind of sustained things. And so she was just basically like, my heart goes out to Sault Ste. Marie, because, like, you're basically going to become the Cape Breton of that area. So, and it's exactly what she said. Like, you can throw government money at it as long as you want, but when you don't have private investment in an area, that area dies.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. Is that the
clip you're talking about?
Yep.
Well, watch the 2 minutes. Mulcair, it gives a nice, we'll kind of catch the tail end of something he's saying, which was very important. And then it leads into Lisa Wright's statement, which you were just talking about.
I didn't realize you had it ready.
Yeah, baby. Always ready.
We're going through that. And yeah, there have been tough times before. We've had 10% and 12% unemployment before in Canada. We know what this stuff looks like. But we've never had our closest neighbor intentionally harming our economy, which is what we're going through now. And I refer us back to our previous discussion. We've got to use what we've got, including our natural resources, which is this great blessing that we have in this country. Got to do it wisely, but we got to do it quickly, because otherwise the entire economy could start to tank.
You see also the sort of disproportionate impact on the sectors that are being punished, right? That aren't covered by CUSMA, that have these 232 tariffs, like steel, like autos. Lisa, I heard you nodding when Tom said he'd been to the factory. Like, this is a third of the workforce in an area where, as the union representative on, like, as I was saying, he said, like, the community cannot absorb this. There aren't enough open jobs there. Even the ones at the mines, he said, are getting overrun by applications right now. Like, that is very consequential.
It is. And I lived through it in the 80s in Cape Breton. We lost the coal mines. We lost the steel plant. We lost the cod fishery. The island has never, ever recovered, And we've had multiple amounts of government programming going in there. And it's devastating to watch a town like Sault Ste. Marie go through the exact same thing. And this is where careless thoughts or careless words like, I don't care, from the Prime Minister is going to come back to haunt him, because those links are going to be made. They knew this was coming because we don't have a deal on steel. Loan guarantees are only helpful when the company knows they're actually going to have revenues to repay the loans. If you don't have revenues coming in, nobody's going to give you a loan, even if you have a government guarantee. That's what they're up against. And without having some kind of path forward on these steel tariffs, they're not going to have any kind of possibility of putting a business plan together to get the loans. So they need more.
Yeah, 100%. That's exactly what I was talking about. Like, I'm so glad you had that, because that piece at the end of it was what I left out and I forgot, was that you can have all the government supported loan programs you can ever desire with X number of millions of dollars ready at the door. But if you have no path towards prosperity, to even be able to say, yeah, we'll repay that loan someday, you're not going to be able to access it.
Yeah.
like, no bank is going to look at you and go, yeah, I think you're a safe investment. Let's pour money into it.
Yeah. Well, it's already happening on the individual level in Ontario. Whereas before even the tariffs hit, it was just suspected the tariffs were going to be hitting these sectors. Banks were not renewing the mortgages of people who worked in these sectors. Yeah, they had a job, money was still coming in, but it's like, we don't know if you're gonna have a job in 3 months, 6 months, so we're not renewing your mortgage, and that's being felt on an individual level, and that's also how it plays out at the higher levels of our businesses. And it's. I don't know, man. It's weird. Like, I always I write these things in my notes. I'm getting myself ready. I'm like, I'm ready to talk about this. But like, when I start really thinking about real people are being impacted by this and real people are losing their lives over this stuff, it really gets me emotional and fires me up. Because as I said, and Lisa Wright said it here, this is so avoidable. We have an arrogant scum of a prime minister, an arrogant scum of a party in the Liberal Party who think, I can just do whatever I want. I kept my job. We just took Trudeau out. We're putting Carney in. I don't care what he does as long as I have a job. But you don't give a crap about the steelworkers. You have freaking Melanie Joly standing up in the question period and saying thoughts and prayers to those workers, but whatever. Like, it is unbelievable, the immaturity of this party. And then they have the audacity to leverage the media against the Conservative Party, saying they're the evil ones. They cry all the time. They're whiners. Really? Well, I'm sorry. Watching what you've done for 10 years, well, it necessitates a little bit of frustration, necessitates a little bit of criticism. And if that's too much for you, get the hell out of the kitchen. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, well, like I said before, it's like people who are literally going to like bed tonight thinking, do I return the Christmas presents I bought my children?
Yeah.
Like, and then the other part of it too is that the young men who've been told their whole life that, sorry, straight white male, you suck. Like, you know, you have no place in society. The only value you have is what you earn and what you bring in. Mm-hmm. They lose their job. Like Jasmine talks about this all the time. Like her past lover that ended up taking his own life. Like we see in health data, I work in health data, I live in health data. You see the suicide rates. You see the amount of people that end up in hospital from strokes, from heart attacks, from stress-related illness that go up because of these economic pressures. Like this party has blood on their hands. And it's just, they talk a big talk about gender-based violence. When you look at what's happening, and you see that people who are pushed beyond their limit, and it's no, excuse for gender-based violence, but you see those numbers go up when you see people who feel worthless, people who feel like they have no purpose, that they have no job to rely on, that they can't feed their family, that they can't provide the future that they had hoped for, and they lose it and they act in ways that they normally wouldn't because they're put into a corner that they didn't anticipate. And like I said, it's not an apology for people who do that. I think it's despicable and you should never do that. But you can see the correlation. And so whenever I see some of these things that come up and everybody's like, words are violence and, not creating safe spaces is harm and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no. Taking people's jobs from them, taking their hope, taking their future, taking their homes, putting them in food bank lines, that's actual violence, and that's what leads to loss of life. Words are words, but when you take people's income and their ability to house themselves and their basic Maslow hierarchy of needs, block number 1, food and shelter and security from them, like bad things happen. And so I think that, I think it was Tom Mulcahy in this interview that talks about, he's like, this is going to be a hard Christmas for Canadians.
Yeah.
And the only shred of hope that I can take from that is that hopefully people who have been asleep will wake up and go, oh crap, we've made a mistake. And I'm now thinking about my neighbor and I'm thinking about my friends and family. And I know somebody who's been impacted by these bad decisions and we're going to change this government. That's the only thing that I can cling to, is that I hope that, like, my Christmas wish from this country is that people see the pain and don't ignore it. That they go and ask these questions of themselves, like, how did we get here? What is being done about it? Is what has happened for the past 10 years actually working? And hopefully they can look inside themselves, as Carney would say, and make a better choice. That's all I can hope for.
Absolutely. And this is kind of what I was talking about, who was I referring to in that rant. Sorry,
you clipped it.
Sorry for my outburst. But this is exactly, like, this ticked me off, and I had to clip it. And of course I mocked her in my frigging tweet saying Melanie Joly throws up T's and P's for the 1,000 workers laid off from Algoma Steel.
See, I love talking to you because when I sent you that text earlier, it was like, because you were waiting to get your snow tires changed, and you're like, this line sucks, and I'm like, thoughts and prayers, and I was like, I hope he gets it, and then you're like, thanks, Melanie Joly, and I was like, yes, he got it. Dude. Somebody's nerdy as me.
Yeah, 100%, dude. Here you go.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Obviously, our thoughts are with the workers affected by the unjustified and unjustifiable tariffs
you deserve to be
imposed
heckled
by
for
the
that.
White House. and we'll continue to work with them as Algoma Steel is going through a difficult situation, to say the least. Mr. Speaker, my team and I have been in contact with Algoma's leadership team. We absolutely have every confidence in the Algoma workers as they're going through this hardship, and we will make sure that we support them as they're developing new products and also accessing new markets. We'll fight for these jobs, Mr. Speaker.
Oh, how about you start fighting with the jobs by reading the contract? That might be a good idea. You didn't do that with Stellantis, but you know, well, that'd be good. That'd be a good start. Actually do your job, what you're supposed to be doing, but you don't even do that. You just stand up in the question period saying, our thoughts are with you. No, it's going to be tough, but don't worry, we're going to fight for your jobs. We've been waiting for you to fight since April, and haven't seen it. Things keep getting pushed off. Why? You don't give us a reason. You're very opaque about anything that's going on with your talk to Donald Trump. But I'm not gonna lie. I know it's become a talking point, but there's a point. There is some truth. There's truth to it. Is every time Carney's talked to Trump, somehow, some way, Canada doesn't come out with a deal.
Brookfield does.
Brookfield comes out with it. It's freaking insane. Like, I don't know. No one can track what's happening. Happens within days of every meeting. It's like, oh, because Bruce Flatt's the one who's talking about it. Oh, Carney has nothing to do with it. Get out of my face, man. The density of someone's brain to not put those connections together is starting to grate on me. And I understand why they don't. But it's starting to grate on me, if I'm being honest.
I think what's happening is there's almost like a cognitive dissonance that people are like, they cannot imagine or fathom the idea that the person that we've elected to run our country would be so corrupt and so obtusely corrupt that it would be so obvious that for people, it's just like, you can't fathom it. So therefore it's not true. Like it has to be a tinfoil hat situation. Cause like nobody would so blatantly and openly have such a massive conflict and be acting on it. Like you'd get eaten up. Like this is the thought process that's happening on the left. They're like, no, there's no way. It's not true because nobody would be that dense. And it's like, isn't that kind of like the beauty of it, where they're just kind of like, you don't see the thing in the fridge that you're looking for because it's right in front of your face. Sure. So the thing that I don't like about the Melanie Jolie clip is her facial expression. Yeah. The disingenuousness that you see in her face when she's there smiling, like, you know, thoughts and prayers. I talked to Algoma, and it's like, you don't look like you're sincere. And I know I harp on the conservatives a lot for sincerity and authenticity, because I want them to do better. And I saw a little bit of that over the past 2 question periods. So that was like, I was excited. I was like, yes, you're learning. But Jolie, like, there's zero sincerity there. Like you look at, when you analyze the way she's speaking, the way she's holding herself, she doesn't believe a word of what she's saying. I'm saying the thing that the script writer told me to say, you know, because I'm going to go home to my well-paid tax-funded job and I don't care. That's what it is. And so I think what the Conservative Party could do with this, I think they send their members to Sault Ste. Marie and get on the ground and start talking with people, bring food, like just, you know, bring a mic, let people tell their stories. Be a human. Don't come in with your aids with all the correct, you know, euphemisms and words and idioms and phrases and 3-word sentences. Like, don't leave that all at the door and come in with that authenticity. The realism that we saw from Jamil, show Canada like the ugly side of this government and put it out there everywhere. And at the same time that you're giving these people a voice, give them something, give them a handout, give them, like, I wouldn't say handout, but give them a hand up. You know what I mean? I don't know, like if that's a food drive, turkey drive, like something, show that you care however you can. Take some of those conservative donations and put it into where it needs to be. It would speak volumes if they took like the Conservative Party just went into their coffers and like, all right, we're going to put X amount into like really trying to help this community right now. Yeah. And I agree with that, is go in to sit and listen to these people and don't go there to preach to them. Is super key. And I think that would have a huge impact. And I think it would mean a lot. Yeah. Well, it's about being in community, because my biggest criticism of the Conservative Party, I shouldn't say my biggest, I've criticized the crap out of them, but because I want them to win, But yeah, it's being in community. Like we keep hearing about how, Pierre's been dropped into Alberta because it's safe, and we hear about the Conservative candidates that are dropped into ridings all over Canada. My riding had drop-in candidates. You know what I mean? Like you see it. It's like the Achilles heel of the Conservative Party is that.
Yeah.
So acknowledge it and then move with this. And like you said, like do not come in with a plan to lecture people or have a speech. Give them the microphone, because your best advocates are not you. It's the people you're going to support. And when you lift up community, they'll lift you up too. So it's that reciprocity. It's a psychological human thing.